You know, for us guys that got divorced, we went through the custody thing, you know, weren't super specific with the agreement, thinking we could work together and this and that, and then got completely fucked. I'm right there with you. And what gets me is now I'll go over there and every time, hey, can I hit your vape? Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you fix that? Hey, can you watch the kids? Every time it's, yeah, I got you. You know why? Because we're decent fucking people. Yeah, we're not together anymore. Yeah, we didn't work out. Yeah, we fell out of love. We might not be able to stand each other as people. But guess what? We have kids together. And I want my kids to see that it doesn't matter if I'm not with their mother. I'm going to do the best I can to keep a cordial relationship, because that's what I want them to see. I don't want them to see toxicity. I don't want them to see her snapping and going crazy. I don't want them to see us arguing. But for some reason, when it comes to these narcissistic women, it's like they don't see all that. In their minds, they're already this perfect wife. They didn't do anything wrong in the marriage. They were victimized by us, even though all we fucking did was work and spend time with them. You know, I said it before, like when I had my career and was making great money and this and that, I didn't have a social life. And honestly, at the time, I was okay with it because I socialized all day at work. So when I got off work, all I wanted to do was go spend time with my kids. Yet somehow that gets forgotten in their minds. In their minds, we put our family second. We were always gone. This and that, whatever they can find to make us the bad guy. And the fact that, at least for me, my ex, she is so inconsistent. One day, she'll act like we're cool and we're friends and we're good. The next day, she's doing some crazy shit just to hurt me out of spite. And that's what drives me crazy. If you're gonna be that way all the time so I know how to deal with you. If you're not, then learn how to work with me. And work with me all the time. I get everybody has a bad day, but it's when you never know what you're walking into. That's what gets the anxiety going, the stress going, and that shit ripples out into every aspect of our lives. You know, it got to the point, like, my career, the job, you know, when I had the 2 vape shops, the head shops, I Delta 8 line, a vape juice line, you know, I was doing all that, like, I was the happiest fucking dude on this planet. That was my passion, it's what I loved, and I had a natural ability for it. You know, people knew my name for what I did. And coming from somebody who was a knucklehead the first 25 years of his life, in and out of jail, prison, this and that, to achieve that, like, man, I felt good. You know, I was proud of myself. But I'll tell you what, the better it got for me, the more she hated it, and the more she just showed them fangs towards me. And like I said in the last video, you know, I honestly think it's because she thought her dream was to be a stay-at-home mom. And when I was able to make that happen for her, it wasn't easy. And she couldn't handle it. She would get too stressed out. She was miserable, completely miserable. And she took it out on me. But all that aside, now, when we're divorced, I don't understand why it's so hard for them to understand that it's not about us anymore. We don't need to be friends. We don't need to even talk if that's what it takes. But for our kids' sake, we need to treat each other with respect and common decency. You know, our kids need to see us working together and doing what we can together to make their lives better, give them the best life we can. And for some reason, in her mind, her spite and anger and need to attack or hurt me comes before all that. And I can honestly say, like, I don't think she's purposely doing it, but I don't think she even realizes it. I think she thinks she's the perfect mother and perfect ex-wife. You know? She's not a bad mom. I'll never say she's a bad mom. But I will say this. The fact that I saw countless times over the 6 years we were married, how she could, over something extremely petty that most couples probably wouldn't even waste a breath arguing over, she could go from fine to seeing red, jumping on me, throwing shit at me, and worse, I'm not going to get into it, like that. Just like that. So, do I ever think it would happen with my kids? No. But there's still that little 10% that sometimes has me nervous. You know, when I call the kids and I hear her yelling in the background, I can tell that voice. I can tell when she's like getting to that point where she can't handle it. And I don't know. It's nothing like that I feel something needs to be done about, right? I really don't. She would never hurt our kids. But just based on history, you know, that concern is always in our head. And I just don't get it. We don't get it. You know, y'all still sitting there watching this. If you're still watching this, then you feel me. You're probably sitting in the same boat. You know, it's one thing if you're a deadbeat piece of shit who not only doesn't support financially, but just doesn't give a fuck about your kids. Doesn't see them, doesn't call them, does nothing. You know, look, I get sometimes, we can get in tough spots. Finances can be hard. Sometimes you might not be able to make child support. And guess what? That's okay in itself, if you're still doing everything you can to be a father for your children in every other way. You know, money isn't everything. And so, especially for you guys that like, you just can't afford child support, but you're still going over there to see him as much as you can, getting him, you know, every other weekend, whatever your time is, you know, still calling him every night, you know, being a father. You know, some women just, it's all about the money. And if you ain't paying them, it doesn't matter how good of a man or father you are. You are the devil to them. You are the enemy. You ain't shit. You're a piece of shit. And like, it's just so backwards. But you know what? At a certain point, we just got to put our hands up, not in surrender, but just realizing that if they want to be miserable, if they're only happy when they're unhappy, guess what? It ain't our bag to carry anymore. Let them do that. You know, one day, kids are going to be old enough to see what was really going on. They don't peep game. You know, I know that the time's going to come where, you know, my son's too young to remember or see anything. My daughter, she's 6. My stepson's 10. Oh yeah, and a quick side note on my stepson. So right now, my relationship with him, it's so confusing. I raised him from when he was 20 months old. I rocked that boy to sleep. He's 10 years old now. When we first got separated, she literally walked in the room right in front of me to him and said, "Oh no, he's not your stepdad anymore. You are not to listen to him. You don't have to obey him, nothing." And ever since that day, it's never been the same. And it's been 2 years now. He doesn't know how to act around me. He doesn't know how to be with me. Every time I ask him if he wants to come with us to do something, he's always like, I don't know. Like, he used to be my buddy, man. That shit killed me. And to this day, she either denies she ever said that or just brushes it off like it was no big deal. Like, I see how much that affected him. How do you not? That is your son. And I was a role model for him. I was, you know, I taught him how to ride a bike. His dad helped him ride a bike too, but like, I had those memories with him too. You feel me? Like, he was my son. I looked at him just like I look at my kids. And it kills me now every time I go over there and there's just that void with me and him. And I don't know if it'll ever be repaired, you know? She did it just to hurt me, not thinking about how it was going to affect him. But back to the top, both of them were old enough to see some of the stuff she did. And there's going to come a time where they fully understand what the fuck was going on. And so I hold on to that. We got to hold on to that and just soldier through. And, you know, there's going to come a day where our exes, our narcissistic, insane, crazy exes are going to get a dose of reality from our own kids. And I relish in the thought of that. So as hard as it can be, we just got to focus on our kids and let our exes do their thing. They want to try to bait us. They want to try to do this and that to make us back. Look, just do you. Do you. I ain't even feeding into it. Let me talk to the kids, you know. She's done everything from take away my weekday visits for no reason to, I don't know, a bunch of shit. Like, just gotta do me. We gotta do us, focus on our kids, and make sure they know that we love them with all our heart. And that's never gonna change. We're never gonna go anywhere. And it's all gonna work out. You know, every storm passes, sun shines after the rain, and just gotta keep pushing till we make it through. And you know, reach out to guys that are going through the same thing. I found this to be extremely therapeutic. I appreciate everybody that watches, follows, comments, all that. I want this to be a place for dads that are going through some shit because of narcissistic, abusive exes. And with that, that's all I got for today. Hope y'all gonna have a good week. Appreciate y'all, and there'll be more to come.